It's no secret that China has long harbored ambitions at building a powerful navy capable of projecting force globally. A crucial component of this effort is the development of an aircraft carrier fleet that can match the United States' decades of naval aviation superiority. And it seems they're finally getting on track. There are reports that China is building its fourth and most advanced aircraft carrier, one that could change the balance of power at sea. So why is China's new aircraft carrier attracting so much attention? And what is the U.S. doing about it? Boiling speculations. The People's Liberation Army Navy commissioned its first aircraft carrier back in 2012 and now has a fleet of 3 ships. Although China's carrier fleet is growing pretty fast, it is still only half the size of the U.S. Pacific Fleet's carrier force. According to reports, China is building a 4th aircraft carrier, making it the 2nd largest carrier power behind the U.S. A reporter for the state-owned Hong Kong Commercial Daily interviewed Chinese Navy Vice Admiral and Political Commissioner Yuan Waji about whether or not China's next carrier would be nuclear-powered and what it would be named. Yuan reportedly smiled when he asked if the carrier would use nuclear propulsion and said there would be an announcement soon. He also said there were currently no technical bottlenecks in the construction of new carriers and that there are no delays. While his statement does not sound like a definitive yes, multiple Chinese media outlets, including the nationalist tabloid Global Times and the South China Morning Post, have also reported the interview as confirmation of a 4th aircraft carrier. Given that Yuan's job is to make sure that the Chinese people are given the right information and rumors are eliminated, it seems unlikely he would hint at the development of a 4th ship if there wasn't one. Development. China's journey towards aircraft carrier supremacy has been long and methodical. The first steps came in the 1980s when Beijing acquired retired carriers like the Australian HMAS Melbourne and the Soviet Minsk and Kiev for study purposes, though the ships were allegedly towed back for scrapping. Chinese engineers carefully examined every inch, reverse engineering critical systems like the launch catapults. The real milestone, however, came in 1998 with the purchase of the unfinished Soviet carrier Varyag from Ukraine. After an extensive refit at the Dalian shipyard, the refurbished ship was commissioned in 2012 as China's first operational aircraft carrier, the Liaoning. This starter carrier, despite its ski jump limitations, allowed Chinese pilots to build vital experience in carrier operations. The lessons from the Liaoning paved the way for the Shandong in 2019, China's first domestically built carrier. While still conventionally powered, it incorporated numerous improvements like a redesigned ski jump ideal for launching the powerful J-15 fighter jets. China's carrier building capabilities took another major leap forward with the Fujian, launched in 2022. This 80,000-ton Leviathan not only dwarfs its predecessors, but represents a generational shift by featuring an electromagnetic aircraft launch system similar to those on U.S. Ford-class supercarriers. With each progressive vessel, China has decisively closed the technological gap. Just a few years after Fujian launched, reports indicated the development of the Type 004 nuclear-powered carrier, which will be the country's most advanced and potent aircraft carrier to date. China's 4th aircraft carrier. The Type 004 carrier will represent a massive evolutionary leap in capability for the People's Liberation Army Navy. Most significantly, it is slated to be China's first nuclear-powered surface combat vessel. Nuclear propulsion is a major technological problem that only a handful of other nations like the United States, France, Russia, India, and the UK have mastered for aircraft carriers. The ability to provide virtually unlimited range and endurance by doing away with conventional gas turbine or diesel engines is a game changer for naval forces seeking global power projection. With a nuclear plant providing enormous electrical output, the Type 004 could potentially be fitted with powerful integrated electric propulsion motors, as well as cutting-edge directed energy weapons like lasers and railguns currently in development. These futuristic armaments could give the carrier defensive and offensive capabilities, unlike any other surface combatant. In terms of air wing composition, the Type 004 will likely be equipped to operate an evolution of China's current career-based fighters. The capable J-15 flanker derivative, which recently entered mass production, as well as the in-development stealth J-35 jet. It may also carry detachments of the KJ-600 AWACS aircraft to provide airborne early warning and battle management capabilities. However, the carrier's most critical enhancement over predecessors like the Fujian will arguably be its sheer size and displacement. While exact specifications remain unknown, reports indicate the Type 004 could be a literal behemoth. Some analysis project a displacement of over 100,000 tons when fully loaded. This would make it nearly 40% larger than the Fujian and closer in scale to the 100,000-ton U.S. Ford-class supercarriers. Such immense size would not only allow it to support a larger and more capable air wing of 70 to 100 aircraft, but also increase its overall armaments, sensors, and onboard facilities. The increased margins of weight and stability will better accommodate future airframe developments like heavier unmanned combat air vehicles. Essentially, an aircraft carrier the size of the Type 004 could be highly survivable while serving as a powerful, mobile airbase at sea. How many aircraft carriers does the U.S. have? As China makes strides towards upgrading and expanding its carrier force, it makes sense to compare it against the might of the United States Navy carriers fleet, the yardstick by which all others are measured. Currently, the U.S. fields 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers across its Atlantic and Pacific fleets, dividing into Nimitz and Ford classes. Each Nimitz-class carrier displaces over 100,000 tons fully loaded and can accommodate air wings of 60 to 70 strike fighters, electronic warfare jets, airborne early warning planes, and helicopters. The Ford class is even larger, with the USS Gerald R. Ford weighing over 110,000 tons. These immense, nuclear-powered behemoths are the core around which American carrier strike groups are built. A single carrier at sea constitutes a mustered airstrike capability greater than most entire nations' air forces. Their aircraft can project U.S. power virtually anywhere on the globe on short notice. Crucially, the U.S. Navy aims to have 3 carriers deployed at all times, one each in the Pacific, Atlantic, and Middle Eastern operating areas. This aggressive operational tempo and forward presence is enabled by having enough hulls for an idyllic 3-to-1 ratio of carriers, one deployed, one undergoing training workups, and the third in maintenance. With 11 active flat tops, the U.S. can sustain this highly robust deployment cycle indefinitely. In contrast, China's fledgling carrier force is still building up experience and the number of vessels required for continuous operational deployments. However, the introduction of China's Type 004 nuclear carriers will significantly close this gap if Beijing's plan to build 4 to 6 ships comes to fruition. This would theoretically allow the People's Liberation Army Navy to maintain 1 to 2 carriers forward deployed at all times in vital contingency regions. Of course, American carriers also benefit from 100 years of institutional experience and a mature training pipeline that allows rapid integration of new hulls. It will likely take China's naval aviation arms decades to cultivate similar levels of operational proficiency across its forces. But the momentum is undeniable with China's carrier program. As each new carrier enters service, the plan pushes even closer to the U.S. Navy's level of capital ship mastery and centricity as the basis for sea control operations. But can China challenge the U.S. Navy's dominance? Challenging the U.S. Navy's dominance. With an increasingly modern and capable carrier fleet like the forthcoming nuclear-powered Type 004 supercarrier, China is undoubtedly narrowing the naval aviation gap with the United States. However, overcoming America's overwhelming advantage in this domain remains a monumental challenge. Quantitatively, even if China's ambitious plans to build 4 to 6 Type 004 carriers come to fruition, it would still likely fall short of the 11 carriers operated by the U.S. Navy. Washington can maintain a persistent forward presence globally, through rotational deployments that Beijing currently cannot match. Qualitatively, the experience deficit is even starker. The U.S. has had a century to develop elite training pipelines and operational doctrines for carrier air wings that China simply cannot replicate overnight. Achieving true equality would likely take decades of serious efforts. Moreover, American carriers leverage well-established military partnerships to incorporate allied forces and project multicultural maritime power. China's increasing militarization has antagonized regional neighbors, isolating its naval forces. Ultimately, while Type 004 carriers will be impressive feats of Chinese industrialization, they do not inherently threaten U.S. maritime dominance in the short term. However, they significantly raise the stakes. As Beijing's carrier capabilities rapidly grow, the likelihood of provocative confrontations or conflicts in disputed waters like the South China Sea increases substantially. How Washington manages this intensifying strategic competition will be crucial for maintaining a stabilizing presence in the rules-based order across the Indo-Pacific in the decades ahead. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for more amazing videos.